Hello and welcome to my tutorial ebook, Adding Fractions with Like Denominators, where every single problem is linked to a video tutorial. Alrighty, here we go with dog food stealing Raccoon. Oh my goodness, this guy is cute. He sure is. But he's a thief, that's correct. Hey, this is a work with me problem. So what we're going to do is we'll start off with the scenario. I'll read that to you and then I'll start working through the mathematical model and I'll pause it and have you, actually you'll have to pause it, but I'll tell you to pause it and then you'll copy whatever I do and we'll work through this problem together. So, without further ado, here is the scenario. A raccoon has been sneaking into your garage and eating your dog's food for 2 nights. He crawls through the doggy door, opens the dog food canister, tips it over, and starts chowing down. You hear the clamor of crashing containers and rush into the garage, but the raccoon scurries out the doggy door and hides behind a tree in your backyard like he's doing right here. The first night, your dog food stealing raccoon hid 3/5 of his body behind this tree right here. Now the second night, he hid 4/5 of his body behind the tree. And your job is to figure out how much of his body did your dog food stealing raccoon hide behind the tree in all. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is to create 2 little rectangles. And actually I say little, but I'd like you to make them fairly big so that you have room to cut them into parts, okay? They should be about the same size, but they don't have to be perfect, okay? So go ahead and pause the video and make 2 rectangles like this. Okay, so here we go. The next step is that we need to cut both of these rectangles into fifths. So that means we need to draw 4 lines in each. So you can do this alongside with me, or you can wait till I'm all done and then do it on your own. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 lines will make 5 parts. And here we go, 1, 2, 3, and 4 lines will make 5 parts. Let's just count to be sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So go ahead and pause the video and make these 2 rectangles with the 5 parts in each. Okay, so I'm assuming you have these all done. If not, hit pause and finish it up and then hit play. However, here we go. The first night, the raccoon here, he hid 3/5 of his body behind the tree. So I'm going to color in 3 out of the 5 here. So what you should do is get either some light crayon color or a highlighter. Actually, I love using a highlighter because you can see through it. If you use a color that's too dark, you won't be able to see these lines. So you want to use a light colored crayon. I chose brown because raccoons are brown, right? But if you choose brown, make sure it's a real light colored brown so you can see these lines. And right here we have 3 out of 5. He's got 3/5 hidden behind this tree. Now the second night, he hides 4/5 behind the tree. So I'm going to color in, oops, that's the wrong thing. I didn't want that color. I want it to be what I could see through. So he's got 4/5 here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5, and 1, 2, 3 out of 4, 5. So I'm going to add my plus sign, and then here I'm going to write 4 out of 5, or 4/5. And what I'd like you to do right now is pause the video and make sure you copy what I've done here, where you color in a real light color crayon, or preferably a highlighter. 4/5 over here, 3/5 over here. Go ahead and write 3/5 plus 4/5, and then hit play when you're ready. Alrighty, so let's move on. Here, we're just going to start counting these up now. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is going to give me 7/5. So now that's cool. That is the answer. However, it's in what we call an improper or top-heavy fraction. And I say that because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So it means it's improper or top-heavy. Let me show you what I mean by that. What I can do is I can take two of these and move them over here to fill this in. So I'm going to actually erase this one. I'm going to just color it in a little lighter. And I'm going to move it in over here and fill in that box there. And then I'm going to erase this box here and move it right over here to fill this box in. And as you see now, here I have one whole, oops, I want to do that like this. One whole, right? So he's got his whole body, right, behind the tree. And over here, I've got two parts, because now I've got one whole and 2 out of the 5, right? So 2/5. So what I'd like you to do right now is go ahead and pause the video, and then you can either take a pencil and cross these two out and show that you're moving them over here and over here, or you can erase it and move it however you want. In my case, I used a lighter color to do that. But however you want to represent that these two boxes are getting moved over here, so that this becomes one whole, and then go ahead and write one whole there, and then write 1, 2 out of 5. And then hit play, and we'll finish the rest. Okay, so now I would like to show you what we have done here in written form mathematically. So what we did here was we took that 7/5 and we broke it into 5/5, right? So we've got 5/5, which as you see is really the giant one, right? And then we added another 2/5, which we got 1, 2 right here. These 2/5, so I added those two 2/5. 2 2/5, just 2/5. And then I can convert it all the way to saying simply 1 and 2/5. And this is your reduced answer, as they would call it. So here's what I'd like you to do. I would like you to make sure you have everything copied that I have here, and then so hit pause till you have it copied. Once it's completely copied, hit play, and I will show you the algorithm. Alrighty, so here we go with the algorithm. And the first thing you want to do is write your two fractions, 3/5 plus 4/5. Now, you got to remember, anytime you're adding or subtracting fractions, the first and most important thing is you got to have common denominators, and here we do, they're both 5. Then the second thing to remember, whether you're adding or subtracting fractions, in this case we're adding, you only add the numerators because that's how many parts you actually get, and the denominator just tells us how many parts each fraction is cut into, okay? So I'm going to add 3 plus 4, and that's going to give me 7 parts, right? And you never add or subtract the denominator. You simply carry the denominator across because that tells us how many parts we're cutting the fraction boxes into, right? So pause the video and get all this copied, and then hit play. All right, so here we go, continuing on. So now I'm going to just do what I did up here, and we're going to convert this. This 7/5 is, as I mentioned earlier, top-heavy because the numerator is bigger than the denominator, which means I can make a whole number out of it, right? I can move 2 of these over here to create 1. So I'm going to take 2 away from the 7, which will give me 5. So I'll have 5/5, which is equivalent to the giant 1, which we talked about earlier, right? That's a beautiful 1, right? And then I've got the 7 minus 5 is going to give me 2 left over, right? So I've got 2/5, right? I'm adding that. And that is equal to 1 and 2/5. And you can see everything we did here in the model, we've got right here. And as you see, our algorithm agrees with our mathematical model, which is very important. Thank you. And now you're going to want to pause this and make sure you have the entire algorithm copied. And once it is, you are completely done. And the next one, you're going to try and do both the mathematical model and the algorithm all on your own. But don't worry, I'll have the video there for you to check. If you make a mistake, just pause the video and fix your mistake, and that's the fastest way to learn. Until next time, have a fantastic day. I'll see you soon.